mute mode throughout the presentation. If you have a question, you can type it in the Zoom chat window, and I will request not to enter any other text as far as possible. I will collect questions from that window and pass those questions on to Professor Patri, and he will answer them at the end of his talk in the order in which the questions were received or whichever he finds fit. So with that, over to you, Professor Patri.
Good morning, and thank you very much, Professor Rao, or Captain, as you're popularly called, for the opportunity and for the introduction, and to be a part of this distinguished lecture series, and to Professor Dige for agreeing to moderate. And good morning, everyone, to all the participants who've joined in today on this beautiful Sunday morning. I guess in the present, one gets to enjoy the mornings a little longer. Without the traffic, the conversations created by the birds are more refreshing to hear. Honestly, I'd have loved to have this talk over a cup of coffee, where it could have resulted in a rich exchange of thoughts and ideas. And hopefully soon we shall be able to do that. But for now, let's zoom. I think everybody's reading about the impact, right, of the COVID-19 or the coronavirus, as it's called, a pandemic, whatever. And it has been devastating. So much so it has actually forced the world and India to literally stop in its tracks, which has resulted in fear of uncertainty, anxiety, and the unknown amongst individuals and businesses. How will it play out is anybody's guess. And just like a coin has two sides, I think this will also have two outcomes. On the one side, there will be a not so positive one, which will have a loss of jobs, drop in income. There could be some business that may shut down. And a lot of this may not even have been faced by a lot of people in their careers or in their lives. But on the other side, there will always be a positive side. And one of the key things that will happen is a complete change in consumer behavior. Yeah. And this behavior can actually be taken up as an opportunity and can result in new ideas and thoughts that could turn into new businesses. And it is the latter that I'll be focusing on for the session today. I have borrowed a bit from the experts and I've added my own experience to it. My time spent in studying customer behavior and also experiencing the 2008 recession has helped me pen some thoughts. So without losing time, let's get started. I guess all of you will be seeing something like this either on your if you're still subscribing to newspapers, or on on the ET app, or wherever you plan to read the news, right? And statistics like this are commonplace these days and are taking up space alongside the counts of positive cases of the virus. This is but reality, and it captures the impact of the lockdown. The impact has been such that there's got no choice, but it'll have to reshape the economy and maybe even redefine it. So what post that, right? What post that? Like I said, two outcomes, and let's hope that, with a little bit of patience, we can mute the not so positive and actually embrace the positive soon. Before I start and go on, I think I really want to just touch upon what's really happening in China. China is where it all started. And I just want to take a couple of slides, try to understand how did the market really behave. During the lockdown, which I think started, China was the first. They were the first to actually ensure they went into a lockdown, which is sometime in Jan 23rd, 22nd or 23rd, if I'm right about the date. What happened? Sales in hypermarts and supermarkets, which is like a big bazaar and spas or even bigger, dropped a negative 12 to 15% compared to the last year, right? Because practically sales become zero. So when you kind of equate it to the yearly sales, there was a drop of about 12 to 15%. A much higher drop in fashion and gifting, close to 32%. But smaller stores, which are equivalent to our Kirana stores, actually had a lift of 12% because they were neighborhood stores, which did not require too much of travel or were set up within those large apartment complexes that China had built in the last 10, 15 years. And as expected, online grocery sites had a 22% increase in sales, a much higher percent increase in traffic, but 22% increase in sales. Just a few weeks back, China has lifted its lockdown. What happened? 75% of footfalls came back to malls. Starbucks opened about 80 to 90% of its outlets. And H&M, a pretty large European fashion brand, reported a dip of just 23% in sales over the previous year in the same period. Footfalls came back to supermarkets, and they are at about 80% of COVID trends. Online grocery, the sales did drop, but they're still positive at about 10%. And despite 80% of Nike stores being shut, the online sales grew 30%. And today, 90% of all companies have resumed work in China.
Mart?
I'm sorry? So going forward, or before I do, I already want to touch upon what did consumers think of this of the lockdown and how life is going to be post lockdown. 82% of consumers approved the way information was being shared. They loved the way that it was transparent. Despite being quarantined, in the most respondents purchased fresh products and necessities twice a week. 80% of them started shopping online. 89% have said that they will be more willing to buy daily necessities online once the entire thing is over. 80% of respondents will pay attention to eating healthy even after the pandemic, because during the period of lockdown, because restaurants and other places were closed, everybody started cooking at home. Yeah, so eating healthy became a forced option, and people would like to continue that. 75% are planning to spend more on sport and fitness in future, and 60% will increase spending on regular medical checks. Work from home worked well for them. Most of them, 83% thought it was efficient. 93% the positive neutral attitude towards online courses as a routine source of happiness. So people actually took the time of the lockdown quarantine to start studying and learning new things. 93%, 77% have already purchased or plan to buy an air purifier, water purifier, or smart fitness bracelets, depending on what the need is. And a lot of them believe that virtual reality and augmented reality devices can be used in virtual shopping scenarios in the future, which actually would mean that retailers could use this as a learning to actually develop something new. What really worked in China's favor? Obviously, the economy is far more robust. And despite the initial surge, and even though there was a lot of people came back to shop, things have gone back to a little conservative levels right now. People being cooped up at home resulted in some amount of revenge shopping. I don't know how many of you all have heard the term revenge shopping, but it basically means that if you have not spent money for a while, or you've not had the opportunity to go and shop or do any kind of window shopping or any kind of shopping for a while, and you're stuck for some time, the moment you're given that freedom, you would like to go and do some splurging. So it could be on food, it could be on fashion, or whatever. And brands use this time to actually experiment in new ways of connecting to the consumer, like live streaming. Consumers took to digital in a very large way for content, for entertainment, and for payments and communication. WeChat, which is the largest, and WhatsApp is very small, very minuscule in China, not even existent. And WeChat, which is similar, its traffic grew by about 50% during this time. And Chinese consumers think it will take at least 6 months for the situation to be back to normal levels. Like a Wall Street analyst put it in his research note, the impact from the coronavirus in China was more muted than anticipated, and business there has begun to normalize. Well, I think more power to them and more power to everybody who's hopefully coming out of lockdown soon. But what about India? Does India offer the same story? Well, India's economy has not been as strong as China's, but even though the number 4, number 5. But what is the current situation? Yes, our lockdown has been extended till about April 30th. What's only possible right now is essential retail operating, mainly grocery and pharma. So what have people done during this period in the last 3-4 weeks? Actually adapted to digital in a big way for shopping, entertainment, education. Kirana stores have become saviors, right? Kirana stores. I was talking to somebody from the RAI, which is the Retail Association of India, and they say Kirana stores in some cities, the business has grown close to 150-200%. Airlines have been shut, hospitality is not operating at all, and F&B, barring a few who are delivering through Swiggy, nobody's really operating as a business. And suddenly work from home has become the new normal, something that was frowned upon a few years back, even till recently, has now become or may become a new normal. What could happen? How would things kind of pan out? I think expect the slowdown of activity to go down till end of May. It may be lifted with a little bit of restrictions. Supply chains have been disrupted. There's no clarity, so hopefully things will start coming back to normal once the the kind of the restrictions go down. People have never experienced something like this. Social distancing has brought about a lot of lifestyle changes, and there is a whole lot of uncertainty. I know somebody who's actually has become prone to anxiety attacks because not able to. He's somebody who's traveling about 15 days a month, and today has to sit cooped up at home. Is not able to take it. I thought I'll add this. I just came. I don't know. I was reading this article yesterday, and I thought I'll add this and actually add a little more value to this presentation. McKinsey did a consumer survey just about and they published results I think a little over a week ago. Some of the things that slides I thought important, I thought you should know. Yeah, where are people? What are people going to spend on during the pandemic, during the lockdown, post that? Yeah. I think things like household supplies, groceries, books, magazine, newspapers, entertainment, home, Netflix. Look at the kind of share that is taken. Personal care, non-food, specifically children, like diapers and baby foods and stuff like that. Snacks, but things like tobacco and alcohol, jewelry, all have taken a backseat. Yeah. More than 80% of the Indians believe that the personal and financial impacts of COVID-19 will last beyond 2 months. Yeah, which means that they'll have to really adjust the routines. How will it impact? 81% believe that their finances will impact of 2+ months. 86% very optimistic, saying that it may take about 2+ months before routines return to normal. Safety of oneself and family and overall public health have suddenly become top concerns. 86% think safety for themselves and their families are very high. Their own personal health also is 72% said their own personal health is very important. 59% think there'll be a negative impact on business. 55% think there'll be impact on upcoming travel plans. A lot of people, and still about, I think 50+ people still believe that they may not be able to make ends meet. Yeah, which is, I think, a little concerning. So really on the industry, how is it going to pan out? How does it look? Yeah. Of course, when I say sustain and when I say grocery there, it's more Kirana stores, because even a store like a Big Bazaar or a Spar or a thing, right now only the grocery sections are operating, but you must realize most of these stores a lot of their business comes from general merchandise and apparel, which is close to about 50, 50 or 60%, or even more. But even post the pandemic, businesses like grocery or pharma or wellness, grooming, especially QSRs, will definitely see things coming back to normal and possibly even grow. Suddenly demand for laptops has increased, right? Because people are working from home, and companies really hadn't planned for that. Longer to recover, fashion will take some time. And having spent some time in the fashion space, I know it will take at least about 6 months for it to recover. I've been speaking to CEOs of few brands, and they're saying, I think post-August, September is when they'll start seeing things picking up. Furniture, home buying, the auto sector, fine dining, tourism, air travel, going back to multiplexes, even hospitality may even take longer to recover. But there are businesses which are doing well right now. Delivery services, OTT platforms like Netflix or Hotstar, online entertainment, gaming.
Hello, Jiten. I think we lost your audio. Hello, Jiten.
Professor Patri lost his internet for a moment. He'll be back. Sorry for the glitch, and request patience for a couple of minutes. He'll be back.
I'm back. Sorry about that. And yeah, technology can not be trusted, even though I guess post-pandemic we'll all be focusing more on, or at least investing more in technology. But well, that's how it is. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think I think the India story will start maybe coming back to normal in about 12, 18 months. I don't know how many of you attended, but a couple of days back, I attended a seminar run by ET, where I think they spoke very specific on how trends would impact retail, and then people from Bain and McKinsey and EY were actually talking about how 12 to 18 months. But yeah, 12 months I think is what one can look at in terms of things coming back to normal. I mean, even McKinsey's survey says that people think that it will optimistically the economy will rebound 2 to 3 months is what people who are kind of unsure say it's about 6 to 12 months, and then people who are very pessimistic or anxious or whatever you call it, say that it may take much longer than even 12 months. Yeah. Forget this. I want to say this. A new normal. People will ask me what the normal is. So yeah. I think it's just basically starting of something new. But in all of this, I think really what will really impact the economy is the change in consumer behavior. I think, and most importantly, will brands and companies be even ready, as marketers, as business people, would be even be ready to embrace this change. Yeah, and there would be some very obvious and not so obvious shifts. The uncertainty, in a lockdown will bring about telling changes in behavior, and that could result in the way people actually behave. Yeah. And social distancing will still be enforced by stores and F&B outlets. There would be people actually may get paranoid and say, hey, keep your distance. Work from home, remote, flexi hours will become accepted, which would mean requirement for increase in bandwidth, internet bandwidth. People will start taking less, doing less visits to clinics for a basic flu. You may, not the flu, not the right word, but for a basic cold or something like a common cold, a simple cough. People will actually just log on to an Apollo, ask a doctor, and then speak to him over video conferencing. Where the advantage of telemedicine, apparently Apollo has already started doing this, where they are encouraging people to book appointments using the benefit of the power of telemedicine. Consumption habits will change. You'll start making less frequent trips to grocery stores, which would mean that brands will start introducing larger pack sizes. There'll be a lot of increase in online orders. People tend to shop for more fresh produce. Could go organic or health foods. And some of these could even come as packaged foods. They'll move to buying. Right now, fashion is not a very large contributor to online shopping, but it could change, especially luxury and bridge to luxury. Stores obviously will not see as much as footfall as what they used to see earlier, especially large stores, and like even malls may not see as much large footfalls. People will buy as much as needed, which means the basket size will start getting rationalized. They will not be overloading your baskets. Customers will prefer laptops, tablets, cloud PCs, and most of these machines will start becoming more powerful. Yesterday, I just saw an ad by Lenovo online, and this was, I think, addressed to the student population. It was a PC that was costing about 40,000 plus, which had a certain spec. They've actually increased the price by about 10%, but made it close to 1.5 times more powerful. Yeah. So that's how machines will start. That's how products will start changing. That's how consumption habits will start changing. For retail specifically, there'll be new ways of engagement. Key will be while you engage with the customer. I think key will be how you remain still empathetic and relevant to the customer, and connect with him or her on mediums of their choice. Yeah. Brands who have earlier only stores will start offering direct to consumer. If they're not also selling on the Amazons and the Flipkarts of the world, they'll also have their own channel to sell direct to consumer. Brands will start integrating live streaming on websites, or carry out live streaming shopping exercise from the stores, especially for beauty and cosmetics. Virtual trial rooms can be created. Stores may become experience centers, especially for white goods. And one of the things that will start happening is people will not buy very expensive jeans, denims. The denims that cost about 8,000-9,000 may not be bought. They may actually be rented out. And that will become a reality. I know 2 brands are already thinking of that and launching it once things get back to normal. Personal health, hygiene, and fitness. Men will take the lead in personal care, grooming. Hygiene will only increase. Home fitness will see a much bigger spike than what it is now. Gyms and fitness trainers, individuals who also practice fitness, will start streaming, doing live streams, and offering their clientele options of doing exercise at home. And increase in the exercise cycles and stuff like that will only get bigger. The not so positive impact of the pandemic is that people will, because of the anxiety and the depressions that people may go through, will get them to actually go back and look at nature, outbound trips, treks, self-help courses, and even balancing work and entertainment. So expect more people to sign up for spirituality, meditation, yoga. Travel and personal travel, lesser incomes or will mean people will start conserving cash more. So instead of spending on high EMIs, smart planning could mean that one can still drive a car. Porsche in Germany has done this, and they've launched a subscription service where you actually register yourself and pay a small subscription a month. And then the advantage is you can actually drive any Porsche car you want, not just one. So people may actually stop buying cars and actually go for something like this. People like Ola, Uber, Zoom, and Rapido will have to evolve their business model because of the hygiene. People may not, cab sharing may drop. Even if it is you're renting a cab, you'll ensure that the cab is maintained. The hygiene is much higher qualities than what it was now. F&B and hospitality. QSRs will increase home deliveries. They will practice hygiene. They'll also practice distancing. Fine dining restaurants, well, if they can manage to get the distancing right, the social distancing right, we'll see some traffic coming in, but with very limited seating. But fine dining restaurants also will start offering you meal packs and do-it-yourself kits. So you can actually order these home and actually have a gourmet meal on your dining table, which will be prepared through instructions that will be sent across. And business hotels may suffer from loss of business traffic. And I'm not talking the fab hotels or the Oyos of the world, but 3 to 4, 5-star hotels which are in the city and offer business stays. They may not see as much as business traffic, but they'll start offering more for families and start having online classes and having sessions on the different hobbies that, especially they have a lot of chef talent that's available. Online cooking classes could be one great way of actually engaging the audience. New professions, new markets, because of the exodus of people out of the cities back to the villages, because they all want to go home, right? That's where they feel comfortable. People will take up farming.
Jiten, sorry to interrupt, Jiten.
Yeah.
There is a request for you to speak a little louder. Is that possible, please?
Louder?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Do I need to go back a slide or should I?
No, I think you can continue from here. Can you?
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. So there would be opportunities for new professions, new markets, new way of doing things. People who've left cities and gone back home because that's where they feel more comfortable will take up farming, because that's the basic thing that people would know. Gig economy will become more prevalent. It started about a couple of years ago in India, but it will now become a bigger thing. And smaller towns, because of the farming, because of more experienced talent going back and setting up shop there, smaller towns will start doing well. And I don't know how many of you have been seeing this, but the last couple of years, there's been this huge trend of saying less is more, but this will actually become a reality. As because of the fact that we are only locked down, people actually living with much less. Nobody's actually going out and buying unnecessarily, right? So less is more, because of the fact that you think you become self-sufficient. Less is more will become a reality. There's a lot that we can discuss, like the housing sector, how the demand will drop, but going forward, designs of flats and houses will actually include a home office space. Spending post-lockdown, mainly in personal care, grooming, fashion, eating out will happen. There would be some, I don't see revenge shopping happening, but there would be some crowds coming back to the marketplace. We are Indians after all. We can't not be seen as social. Video conferencing will become commonplace. And how people will manage their anxieties also will become a big thing. The banking sector will see a lot of changes. Maybe there could be lesser number of branches available, and all of it is now will be done online. Most of you all must be doing banking online, but it's still not 100%. The percentage of people using banking, online banking, is still small. And there'll be a big shift. The balance between work and digital entertainment will become much higher. People will actually use this time, use that balance of work to actually learn new things, look at developing new things, or even just chilling out. Whichever way this goes, I think brands and marketers will need to rethink their strategies, right? And while this obviously will define the economy, like I think experts are saying, it is 6 to 12 months. And a fashion brand CEOs that I'm speaking to, and my own startup that I'm consulting with also thinks, it will take about 6 to 12 months. But whatever happens, whichever way it goes, I think there needs to be a lot of rethink that needs to be done. What can brands do? And how can they use this time to actually kind of craft those strategies? Yeah. One, I think if you're a B2C business and if you have a customer database, use this time to actually understand your customers better. Do a lot of predictive modeling, social analytics, trying to understand, try to really listen to the consumer and your customer and see what he or she is saying. Develop your messaging, which would be far more empathetic and far more personal. Budgets will become low, marketing budgets will reduce. So digital first. I don't see print even becoming an option. If you have a loyalty program, ensure that you retain your most valuable customers, or 30% of your top tier, who give you about 70-80% of your business. See how you can actually develop better experiences for them in their stores, or even when they come to shop on the website. Work with other brands, increase collaboration, whether like-minded or even competing brands. Today, I think going forward, it's no more going to be about competition. It's going to be all about how you actually win in the situation by surviving the worst. And get omni ready. And when I say omni, is for people who just have just stores, for those brands who just have stores, I think get and develop an omni channel which will improve online conversions. And simple, the only thing that can do it is by investing the right amount of technology. And while we are panicking about the pandemic, Mother Earth is healing. Which means that, a few months back, I'd written a post on LinkedIn as to why make, use, return may actually start coming in play. And governments and industry may actually take note of this and shift to something called a circular economy, where focus will be more on, conservation, recycling, and stuff like that. And actually move away from the linear economy of eliminating waste and the continual use of resources, because resources are finite and not infinite. Having said that, I think this quote from Robin Sharma I thought was very apt. Were we moving directionless? I don't know. Had greed taken over us? I'm not too sure. But maybe nature decided we needed a reboot and put us on a pause mode. While the progress will be slow over the next few months, I think take time to assess yourselves, learn, network, and most importantly, stay positive. So while we go slow now, but there will be a time that will eventually go faster. Thank you very much for listening in.
Hi, Jiten. I've sent a set of questions to you. So maybe you can take those and answer the ones that you feel relevant, most relevant.
Yes.
So Rahul, before that, I would like to thank, on the behalf of all our participants, I would like to thank Professor Jitendranath Patri for his extremely insightful address, and also hand over to you for him to answer questions. Post which I will return to make a brief announcement. So thank you very much, Professor Patri. That was very insightful. Less is more. Is it reality? Mother Earth is healing. Possibly yes. The requirement of home offices, absolutely. I think I'm searching for one, a home office. And so these are interesting thoughts, and how consumers are going to be affected as we go forward. Thank you. And I'm sure our participants have had or have posted a number of questions, and you can answer some of them. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Captain. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I hope I can do justice to the questions that have been asked. I think there's a question from Jaideep Joshi who says, all items sold, services given at very low cost during lockdown, almost free of cost. So is this a good time to start an online business like e-commerce? I don't know what business you're in, sir, but if you have a business that can scale up, I think there's no harm in starting an online business right now. Yeah. While yes, the digital the media rates also are low because people have cut down on their advertising and their visibility spends, but you can take advantage of that. And if you have the right funding, if you have and the gumption to do it, please do it. And if it's a product that can scale, please, I think by all means. Despite lockdown, the black market is still thriving. How does India cope with that? Sorry, sir, I don't honestly. I'm not the right expert to really speak about this, but I think India being India, even during the not lockdown period, black market is still doing well. And as much as and as long as there's a panic demand, black markets will always thrive. Or things that I think Indians very specifically, you take something out of the reach, and then people will find a way to get it. So I guess that's what makes black market will still thrive. From Siddhi Dabala. So do you think post lockdown the rates of most items may increase? Some items could increase because they will see less offtake. Professor Archie D'Souza here. Will companies move en masse out of China? Will India benefit from such a move? Not clear is it. China is a very big market. China's self-consumption is very big. For Apple, 40 to 50% of Apple sales itself comes out of China. For Nike, China is a very big market. So I'm not too sure. In fact, I think you should read the book called The End of Cheap China, where companies are already moving out manufacturing facilities out from larger cities of China to smaller cities and even to smaller markets. China themselves are doing that, but I'm not seeing, and India is not a labor cheap market anyway, so I'm not too sure how much of a benefit it will have. What will be the impact on, from Rajesh Ramana, what will be the impact on healthcare industry? I think healthcare is one industry that will continue to grow. And there would be policy, and more than I think policy changes in healthcare, I think there needs to be a more robust healthcare system that India needs to set up, right? And this is like a complete eye opener for the government. I think the first step is I think we need to really set up and strengthen the complete healthcare system. Professor Commander Himanshu Joshi, have noticed a huge drop in amount of waste generated in the layouts. Will this become part of the new normal? I think, yep. It actually could reduce, because I think what a lot of gated communities and enclaves will do is actually set up, we've set up our own, the apartment I stay in, we've set up our own composting facility. So I think wet waste, we don't send out, we compost within the premises. Again, from one more question, with work from home and extended social distancing norms pitching in, is the cosmetics industry likely to take a hit? Not in terms of sales of products, but yes, in terms of trials, and yes, it will take a hit. But for which I think there's a solution which is found out by a few bloggers out of China who do live streaming. So they're two friends who don't know each other, and they kind of test the products on each of them and then talk about the benefits of the products, and actually sales of cosmetics and beauty products actually increased. From Ashish Adya, can you put a light on future trade relationship with China? I don't. There could be some hiccup, not for anything else, but because China is just about starting back. So the supply chain will get disrupted. But yes, I think there will be a lot more care that will be taken, hygiene factor, and ensure that a lot of things start getting sanitized. I'm not a finance person, so yes, Mr. Vishnuja, you asked something about RBI repo rate. No, I will not be able to answer that. There's a question by Renuka, which is your perception of impact towards the knowledge sector. Knowledge sector will only improve, especially today you have online, most courses going online. So a lot of the repositories will become online. My only concern is how students of 10th and 12th, if social distancing really becomes a rule, how students of 10th and 12th or even engineering college will actually have or manage with online classes. Well, that's to be seen. There's a question from Dr. Anupama. What would some of your suggestions to the management students pursuing management education? I think keep your mind open. I think the most management students would think of joining a large company, a large brand, like depending on what stream you want to join. But no, I think don't hesitate to join startups. There are startups who would use this opportunity to actually develop new businesses. There may be startups who will actually take advantage of this time and start doing well. Join startups, be it in a technical field or be it in a non-technical side. Use this opportunity to actually learn how businesses are built. I think there's no better way of learning stuff like that. What will be the role of sales professionals? Question from Sagat Mishra. Again, it depends what you're selling. If it's a more B2B product, I would still think the role of sales professionals is very important. Though the definition of a sales professional may change, or the what should I say, the profile may change. Instead of being a hard pushy person, you may actually start using a lot more empathy to do a lot of selling. But sales, people who are practicing sales will still find takers. From Sunil, so why does BSE and NSE not shut down? If you completely shut down the exchange, I don't know. I guess it's time that the economy also then goes into, there may be a financial emergency, is what I guess. So they'll still have to trade. You can't not have complete zero trading. Effects on tourism will be heavy. People will take some time to travel out. It will not be easy. Air travel also will take some. Air travel actually will become expensive, and will not be as affordable as it was like earlier. Airports also will become less crowded. So there would be a lot of change in the tourism industry. And even tourism industry, maybe you will feel more comfortable maybe traveling within India. Internationally, you may take some time. You may avoid countries like Spain, Italy, given the fact that they were the worst affected. Will Ayurvedic and question from Venkatesh BR, will Ayurvedic and other alternative medicines take a leap forward? Possible, they could be, because I think with health and wellness only improving, I'm sure our non-allopathic streams of medicine would take also kind of find its foothold. If lockdown leads to a negative GDP, then I don't know. I think more than 18 months, I guess. More than 18 months. I only hope that it doesn't go into a negative GDP. Could personalized market, interesting question from Abhinav Gupta. Could personalized market be a new era? When you say personalized market, I mean, I sense you're talking about personalized marketing. Yes, personalization will become a big thing. And that's why one of the key things I mentioned in one of the slides is brands will need to investing in understanding the customers better. Start crafting messages which are a lot more empathetic and more relevant. Yes, personalization will become a big thing. In fact, digital personalization will become will really be taken up by a lot of brands, and that's one of the startups that I'm working with. They actually are in the space of digital personalization. There's a question from online to brick and mortar models. How will it pan out? I think I'll give you an example. There's a very large retailer who has an online channel, and about 70 odd stores, very large stores across India. Each store is the average size of each store is about 50,000-60,000 square feet. Yeah. Now that's a strong brick and mortar player. The current contribution to online is just about 1%. Now the brand is saying, I want to push that 1% to about 10 to 15%. Yeah, because they know sales in the brick and mortar stores will drop. How do you really drive business onto the online? And online to brick and mortar examples like this same gentleman who said examples like Urban Ladder. I think Urban Ladder still uses their offline stores as more experience center. So I really don't think that would really get impacted. But people would not hesitate to go online. I think that that initial or this period has actually helped them break that barrier, and that initial hiccup is over. They'll start looking at online format, including fashion, right? Where people would still have to try, touch, feel, and see the actual color. But I see a lot more throughput happening to online. There's a question from Ramesh, which says pandemic effect of staffing on the staffing industry as hiring is frozen. But once industry starts picking up, people, companies will start hiring. So it may be temporary for about the next 4 to 6 months is what I assume. How COVID, question from Banu Prakash, very, very, very important question, impact on supply chain. Right now, supply chain is practically been throttled. And that's a big thing that people are trying to work within, given the whatever little constraints are there. And it will, but I'm sure it will correct itself in at least about 3-4 months time. Touchwood, right now we've not really gone into a stage where things are not available on the shelf, but hopefully things will correct itself.
Okay, so I think there is one last question. Maybe we will take that. So I hope you can see that, Ethan. Jiten, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So there is, I think, one more question.
Jitin, Dr. Venkatesh would like to know on what the unemployment situation is going to be.
Will now take a lot of importance, like I mentioned. I think in relation to another question asked earlier, the healthcare system will have to be really improved upon, and this was an eye-opener. But parallelly, I think the economy needs to be strengthened. People will have to work overtime. The powers that be will have to work overtime to ensure that the economy really doesn't slip, and government will do all it can to ensure consumption is maintained. If consumption stops, and that's why I focus more on my talk on consumer behavior, because if consumption stops, there's practically no economy. Yeah. So I'm sure the government will do a lot more. They may even maybe have reduced income tax in the IT slabs and stuff like that to actually help drive consumption. Unemployment could increase. There's a question from Mr. Venkatesh. Unemployed will definitely increase, and really, really increase. In fact, just to kind of add to this, I think the fact of job losses has started about a year ago, because the industry was seeing some kind of slowness, from 2018 mid onwards, and people have actually started laying off. I know my own ex-employer, Future Group, laid off at least quite a few people sometime last June, July, August, right? So layoffs are happening. It could only become that much higher, but with new with startups coming in, with new kind of businesses coming in, things will start opening up. So I think 6 months could be a period of 6 months could without a job, people will have to kind of wait through that kind of a period. Yeah. There's a question from Pragna. Finance stream has become automation through some apps. What about man who wants to take finance course? And please take it up. I think there are enough and good courses on finances and supply chain which are happening online. look for it. You'll find very good courses online. I know. There's a question from Manjula Shekhar: parents, students, and public attitude towards higher education. I think the biggest change. I think there will not be any change towards the attitude towards higher education. But I think what what parents and students will have to really get used to is if classes cannot be, if physical classes cannot be held, then will they get used to online classes, especially people who are in the 10th and 12th?
Right.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
Rahul, can I take over?
Yes,
Rahul?
please, Captain. Yes, I think we have all the questions we had. Taken all
So
the
thank you, Professor Patri, once again for that amazing lecture. I was a little amiss that I did not fully introduce Professor Jitendranath Patri. He's got a post-graduation in physics, very interestingly, before he went into the retail industry and advertising and so on. And he got his management education at IIM Bangalore. Very distinguished person. And just to remind all of our participants, we have two amazing lectures coming up. We have Professor Chester Elton, celebrated author, management guru, leadership guru, and executive coach, who will be talking to you on Friday, April 17th, in the evening, because he's in New York. He's locked down in New York. And we have then on Monday, Saket BSV. Saket is a young man, graduated from IIT Madras. His company Perpule is very much in the news because of online shopping and so on and so forth. He is the CTO and co-founder. He was listed recently in the Forbes 30 under 30 startups. His company was listed there and he was personally recognized. And these are amazing people. And I would urge you to attend these webinars and listen to him. So on behalf of Dayanand Sagar University Executive Education, I'm signing off. Thank you very much indeed for being part of our program. And I hope to see you later. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.